Hello, everybody! Season 2 is upon us. Yes. It's been a while. We've had a break, but the Red Letter, Yellow Letter podcast is back in business. It's season 2, and we are winging it today, aren't we? Aren't we, Harley?
We're often winging it. Let's be real.
Yeah.
Like every third episode, we're like, let's wing it. I don't know.
Yeah, we're good at winging things.
Yeah,
we winged many an episode back in season 1, you know.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. It was like every third episode, we're just like, fuck it, we're winging it. And those are usually the best ones, honestly.
Yes, they were. You know, we'd pick a couple of very, very, very loose subjects and then just chew the fat for about an hour. So, so it's been like I'm trying to think. It's been multiple months. We've been on a break, and so what's been poking its head above the parapet for you, really, other than, you know, obviously all the real life stuff?
I just been focused on real life shit. I mean, I personally try to just get my shit back together at this point. I am trying to get Cryptid Bartender revived, so I realized the other day I mentioned cocktails or bartending or something, and I didn't really realize how long it's been since I posted anything. I mean, it's been like just about 5-6 months, and a lot of new followers started commenting like, you should make drinks based off of different monsters and cryptids and stuff, and I'm like, actually about that. So I retagged that and just kind of advertised it a little bit, but I've had people reaching out to me asking where I've been, how come I haven't been posting anything, and when I'm going to do it again. People asking for a physical recipe book of everything, even some suggesting I start a podcast where I go over the lores and the legend and stories about whatever cocktail I'm doing that week. But I don't know, that's kind of the back of my mind. I don't know for sure if I'm going to do that or not. I wouldn't want to do it alone. That's the thing. I don't like doing podcasting by myself. It's, you know, I'm just sitting there blah blah blah, and it's not so fun. It's not as fun.
No. You want to
find a guest. It's not the same.
Yeah, you want to have fun with it. You want to have fun with it is what you want to do.
Where'd you go?
Oh no, my camera's gone. There it is. It's back again. That was weird. Okay, so but yeah, no. I suppose one of the big things I guess I wanted to ask you about was the how have things been in Arizona now that you know the Rona's gone. You know, has everything returned to normal where you are?
Not quite. We're trickling in there. So basically, the city of Tucson. I believe we still have a mask mandate in place for the actual city limits. I live outside the limits, so the areas around it are not following those restrictions anymore. So, like, if I go to, say, the Marana area or wherever, to somewhere south, north, wherever, nobody's wearing a mask for the most part. I'll see, like, an 80-year-old doing it, and it's like, okay, you're probably gonna die tomorrow, so, like, I understand you're considered. I'll let you have that. But in general, no. People outside the city limits are not wearing them, so that's been nice. With that said, business is still not booming. In fact, I was actually just at my old workplace just on Friday, just a couple of days ago, and it's a movie theater with a bar. All right, this time 2 years ago, it was a Friday summer vacation at noon. Okay. That exact time 2 years ago, I probably would have already had like $50 in tips alone in hand, right? Mm-hmm. There was nobody. It was dead. I mean, there were some movies coming out, but they're just not popping out movies as much as they were before, so nobody's showing up. So for businesses like that, it's still taking a hit. A lot of bars are hiring, but they're still not as hip and happening as they could be, you know? I mean, the economy tanked. A lot of places are still really suffering out here, so it's slowly getting better, but it's definitely not back to normal by any means.
Yeah, no. Where I am, I mean, I'm in Illinois, so it depends. It really, really does depend where you go. I mean, the mask mandate, that as in the mandate itself, does seem to have fallen by the wayside. What surprises me is the number of people still wearing masks. because obviously you have a very large swathe of the population that has been vaccinated, and you have a not equally but just as large swathe of the population that had it and are now immune to it because they've got the antibodies. So when you add all that together, the number of people that cannot get it is huge in comparison to the number of people that can get it, and yet there are still more people wearing masks, especially in Illinois, than are not, which kind of goes counter to what is the reality. The reality is the majority of the population ain't going to get it, let alone die from it, and yet the larger group of people seem to be continuing. I mean,
a local friend of mine actually just recovered from it. It took a toll on her for about a month and a half. She went in thinking she had like a bladder infection or something, and they checked her out and went, "No, this is COVID." And for like a month, she was completely quarantined herself. She was miserable. Like she was, and I mean, she only really recovered like a month ago.
Yeah.
So, but with that said, no one else in her family got it. So that's good at least. But yeah, I mean, I see like, on my phone for instance, I'll check the weather and it pops up automatically however many new coronavirus cases are in Arizona. And every time it's like around 400, then it's like 9 deaths. It's like, really? Like 9 out of 400 people? It's really not that. I don't know. It's like by now, it's like, guys, when are you going to learn this isn't as detrimental as you think it is?
Yeah.
It's been over a year at this point. Like, just fucking move on. Like, let it go, damn
it. No. And I get that because for me, it's been, especially when I have been out shopping, the swing from, like, for me, in February of 2020, February of 2020, when we thought we knew nothing. I mean, there was information out there, but it wasn't being readily shared. I mean, they had the entire virus deconstructed, and they could have started work. We now know that they could have started work on a vaccine in January, February of 2020, but they didn't. And because we didn't have that much data on it, I was wearing gloves and a mask when I went out because I knew nothing about this whatsoever. And the swing side of that is now when I'm out, so people were looking at me funny in February. People will. It's like, isn't that a bit over the top? It's like, well, I don't know how many people have touched this shopping cart surface, and we don't know how long it lives on various different types of surfaces. That's why when I went in, I would put on plastic gloves, and when I left, I would throw them straight in the bin. And I wore a mask.
I had a very different, like, I never wore gloves when I went out. I didn't start wearing masks until I had to, because it was like, just wash your fucking hands. Like, I don't know. I'm very much a proponent for, like, build your natural immune system. I mean, I knew I wasn't at risk. My kids weren't at risk. So it was like, and I go to work and I come home. And when I go to work, I was working food service. So I was constantly washing and sanitizing my hands all the time. I mean, not just a quick little rinse, but like all up and down your arms and all. So I mean, I was constantly clean. And then when we had to start, wearing gloves and masks and such, I did for sure. But I mean, if I was going to the gym, they let out like sanitization products. They just had like spray cleaners and paper towels. You clean it off, exercise, clean it off again, go to the next machine. And that's what I did, So I didn't wear anything unless I had to. I just sanitized everywhere I went.
Yeah. I mean, I would definitely argue that nowadays the necessity to wear a mask, that need for PPE is just it's not need now. It's more of a nicety. I mean, mask wearing seems to have it's kind of evolved into a social convention, even though it's not absolutely necessary, because, there are more nasties out there than just the coronavirus. There are literally more nasties out there than the coronavirus. So by continuing to wear a mask, you're not just probably helping, it's like, if you're wearing it just for coronavirus, then you're kind of, you're kidding yourself a little bit. because there are there have now been multiple studies. We know that if people that have had it are immune. We know that people who have had the vaccination are immune. And the people that's like, oh yeah, well, you still need to take that precaution. It's like, why? If you do not have faith and trust in epidemiologists saying if you've had it you're going to be immune to it, or if you've had a vaccination you're not going to get it, the chances of getting it, it's like the chances of getting it for a second time, they are astronomical. If it was happening a lot, it would be getting reported on by the media a lot. But what tends to happen is the one-off case. Oh, Bill Maher got it. It's like, that's it. That's your one famous person getting it out of millions. And it kind of harkens back to the I'm not sure which one it was, where there'd been 8 million doses of it already given out, and there were 6 people that had blood clots, so they put a pause on it. And it's like, you have FDA approved medicines out there now with higher kill rates than that, and yet they're FDA approved. And none of these vaccines have been FDA approved. They've just been given the kind of pass so that they can be used. It's not that they're FDA approved. They don't have the official FDA approval on them. They just have kind of like a pass, because
I don't know. I'm not getting the vaccine. I'm not. It's not even like, oh my god, anti-vax. It's a rush job project. Most vaccinations take 10 to 15 years to get right, and we've been working on this for a fraction of that. You can't tell me that's freaking safe. But I was actually going through my genetic. I had my genetic testing done years ago for medical purposes. And I was going through it again today because it's been so long, and I'm like, is there anything I forgot about? Or is there anything I should be more aware about? Maybe they, because not everything is fully mapped out and explained yet, because they're still doing so many studies on all these different genes. They're still learning as they're going out. So like, okay, it's been a few years. Maybe there's more information now. So I re-downloaded them. I had them read again, and I'm actually. There's no point, because I'm actually immune to a lot of these vaccines, including like rubella. I'm completely immune to rubella vaccine, which includes mumps, measles, and I think there was another one on top of that. So yeah, no effect. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm either I know for a fact I'm allergic because I've had multiple allergic reactions to different ones, and then I'm immune to others. And it's like, yeah, there's really no point in me taking this fucking rush job one. I'm sorry, like that's dumb. That's dumb.
It's funny that you mentioned.
I swear, I'm gonna punt. The next person I see who says Fauci, ouchie, they're getting punted in the fucking front butt. I'm sorry. Like, it's the cringiest shit I've ever seen in my life. I saw this TikTok yesterday. Someone put it up on Twitter. And it's this bitch, and she's, oh my god, it's here. And she opens up this fucking package, and she's like, it's my Fauci pouch, or Fauci ouchie pouchy for my vaccination card. And she's like singing like it's the best fucking thing she's ever seen in her life. And I'm like, oh my god, like, please don't breed. I'm sorry, just don't breed. I'm begging you. Like, I can't handle this shit.
The number of times that Fauci has reversed, gone 180. So he said one thing, and then not long after he said the opposite. That's not what you need from a person who is speaking from a position of authority. And obviously he has been promoted by the state, regardless of what party is in charge of the state. He has been touted by the state as a voice of authority, and I always get concerned when people are pushed into positions of authority and touted as, this is the person who you should listen to and take your advice from. It's like, well, that's fine, but what advice of this person do you want me to take? Because in this time of the year, at this month, he was saying this wasn't, and then he reversed it, and then he changed it again later on. So you're saying that I must listen to this person's advice. What advice? Because they've contradicted themselves on multiple occasions. So yeah. So I'm when it comes to advice from, there are better in my opinion, there are better epidemiologists out there than Anthony Fauci. Than
it
Dr.
simply
Anthony
makes
Fauci.
no sense to put it all on one person.
Exactly. That makes
it really just
doesn't. It doesn't make sense at all. It should be, well, there's this school and this college and this university, and they're doing studies, and their head of epidemiology has different opinions than this one, and it's like, well, he has a different opinion, or she has a different opinion, or they have a different opinion,
right?
But don't listen to them, and it's like, why?
See, that's the thing about doctors, like they'll. Because it gets confusing because it's not like religion where there's all these different interpretations. So you're following a different preacher who have all these different interpretations of whatever religious text. You're looking at what's theoretically supposed to be fact. So you would think you could have one person who just knows the facts, but that's just not the case because test results might vary, or people might or fail. I mean, that's why they have to do it over and over and over again. That's why vaccinations are supposed to take years to perfect. Because you have to have multiple people testing it over and over and over and over again to see if you can finally get a fact. So when you put brand spanking new information on one person, you're destined for disaster. It's just not logical in any sort of way.
No, and I would hazard, and I would be willing to make a very, very large wager that all of the people that have been hoisting Dr. Anthony Fauci's opinion on the global population, there is a large group of those people that have at some point in their life required some kind of medical testing. Oh, I'm ill, or I think I'm ill. I'm going to go to the doctors, and I'm going to get a prognosis. And then the doctor gives them a prognosis that they don't like, and they're like, you know what? I'm not sure about this. I'm going to go and get a second opinion.
Yeah.
It's a term of phrase. Oh, so you if you don't like what you hear from the first doctor, if you really don't like it, it's not a matter of trusting or disliking or not wanting to listen to what that first doctor has said. But a lot of people will be like, let's just go get a second opinion. Yeah. And everybody that hoists Fauci onto the world front, it's like, no second opinion. His word is gospel. And I'm like, no. If you were ill, if you were sick, and you got an opinion from a doctor that you did not necessarily dislike or distrust, you would go and get a second opinion. What is wrong?
And especially when you have something so little understood. I mean, like, I'm a perfect example because I'm type 1 narcoleptic, and I started getting symptoms when I was about 6-7 years. Well, I started getting the nightmares and such when I was younger, but then I started getting the actual sleep paralysis when I was 7. I didn't have my first unconscious episode until I was 9, so it was like a work in progress. And over time, we were just like, why does she keep fainting? Why is she drastically exhausted all the time? Why does she seize up during moments like this? And so I went through multiple doctors. I had freaking MRI scans. I had heart monitors. I had blood tests, and I mean, all different kinds of things from multiple different doctors looking for all different things. And none of them could figure it out. None of them could tell me what was going on. And the best guess we had was, well, your spine's screwed up. Maybe so your chiropractor thinks maybe you just have pinched nerves causing it or something. We had no idea. It was all just guessing. Mm-hmm. But everyone was looking for the wrong thing because, at that point, narcolepsy was just it was barely really known. It was just like kind of, oh, you fall asleep sometimes, and nothing really much more beyond that. So it wasn't until I actually had to go raw and get my genes tested that I was like, oh crap, I carry a crap load of genes for narcolepsy and increased risk of narcolepsy. So there we go. Looking at the symptoms, like, well, that explains everything, doesn't it? But it took years. Mm-hmm. It took years to do, and it took multiple doctors like ruling things out. It wasn't that simple.
Mm-hmm. Nothing is these days.
No.
People, there are lots of people out there that would like to boil this down into something simplistic, but it isn't. especially when it
can't.
comes
nothing about the medical field is simple because bodies are simply not simple.
Yeah,
there's always different variants. There's always exceptions and mutations or whatever going on. We're not cookie cutter. We're all very different in our genetic makeups. So you can't just have solid answers. You got to do this. You got to get the vaccine. You got to blah, 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 blah. That doesn't cover everybody. Mm-hmm. It just doesn't. I mean, like, hell, another example, norovirus. I remember one time I went through the household, and at the time we had 9 people in that house. And it was the only ones who didn't get norovirus, and it lasted for a month. The only ones who didn't get it were me and my stepdad. And as it turns out, I am, in fact, immune to norovirus. But the vast majority are not. There's always exceptions. So to put any one person on a pedestal and to harp on anybody and say, well, you got to follow what he says, you got to do everything he says, it's fucking stupid. Yeah. It's completely fucking stupid.
Well, I mean, it does seem to be, at some point, over the coming weeks and months, it'll just stop getting talked about altogether. And it has to. It really, really does. This part of human history needs to be consigned to the history books. 10 years from now, people will be looking at things that were said, things that weren't said, the way things went. And, then, it'll be easier to pick at things. It will be much, much easier to pick at things.
If the progs let it die out, all their fucking coronavirus tattoos and bullshit, like, good lord.
Oh, yeah, 10 years...
It's such a cult. It's such a fucking cult. It's such... Look at me, I got a vaccine, I'm a fucking hero. Like, no, you sat there and had a fucking needle poked in you. Get the fuck over yourself. Good God.
10 years from now, all of the people that did that, people will look at them and go, you did what? I mean, so I just had a tetanus jab. Does that mean, in your world, I should get, a tattoo that says, oh, yay, I had my tetanus. I'm not going to die from tetanus. Or, yay, I was going to go and visit this country. I needed to have a shot for for this.
I got a mosquito for my
I'll get a tattoo. So all of the people that went way, way, way over the top, 10 years from now, they're going to be looking at that and they're going to be thinking to themselves, I'm going to keep this covered up or I'm going to have it lasered off. Because they're not.
They feel shame.
10 years from now, those people aren't going to be displaying things like that.
To be honest, I don't think they will. I think they're going to try to continue to hype it up and make it like a badge of honor because it's virtue signaling. They're trying to fill a hole, like an emotional hole of self-worth. So they're not going to let it die, be like, yeah, I was stupid, I got this tattoo. They're going to try to keep hyping up and be like, yeah, I did that. I got this fucking tattoo because I helped contribute to killing the virus. You're safe and healthy because of people like me. That's what they're going to fucking do. That's their mentality.
Yeah, that is their mentality. A lot of people are going to look at those people and say, get the fuck away from me.
Oh, I know.
You virtue, because 10 years from, I've been saying this for a while, this whole virtue signaling, politically correct, SJW, cancer. It's a phase. Human history has these phases. I mean, I'm old enough to remember the PC phase in the UK of the 90s, and this was before the internet, so this was a nightmare. You would get shouted down by people if you referred to someone as tall or slim or fat. It was like, they're not tall, they're vertically challenged. Or if someone was fat, you'd be like, yeah, but they're fat. It's like, no, that's wrong. That's very rude. It's immature. They're horizontally challenged. That's not real. I don't believe you. That was a thing in the UK in the 90s. I kid you not. That was a thing in the UK. So I do genuinely think that this, the pushback against these types of cultural phase, because that's all I see it as a cultural phase. Culture has changes. There's not a lot of massive hardships in Western culture at the moment. So every now and then, during those phases where everything, you just look at things and it's like, my God, is this as good as it gets? Because it's pretty damn good at the moment. and then you get sections of society and sections of culture that have to go looking for the bad, and if they can't find something, they'll take one small thing and they'll try and manufacture it into something bad. And the mid to late 90s,
that self-victim mentality. They gotta feel like they're struggling, so they feel strong. They gotta feel like other people are unable to stand up for themselves. I mean, it's like, no, you gotta say Latinx instead of Latina and all this shit. It's literally just to fill their egos. They don't. I mean, most of these hardcore prog type people, they sit on their asses all day, looking for any excuse to justify their lives falling apart, to just blame everyone but themselves.
Yeah.
And so they got to fill that emotional need, and they will victimize themselves, they'll victimize everyone else, and act like they're just so brave and strong for standing up against what the fuck ever. Like, it's sad. I mean, honestly, when you break it down, it's infuriating, sure, because they're so obnoxious about it, and they're trying to push so many things, laws, regulations, etc. on everybody. But it's also like, fuck, how screwed up are you? Like, what happened to you?
Yeah. Well, and the weird thing is the term virtue signaling. A lot of virtue signalers are by definition not virtuous in their virtue signal.
No,
see,
yeah.
the virtuous way to virtue signal would be, hey, I'm going to call I'm going to call this group of people by their preferred pronouns, and I'm always going to do that. You don't have to do it, and you don't have to do it, but me in myself, I'm going to respect those people that want those pronouns using, and I'm going to do that. That is a virtuous virtue signal. A non-virtuous virtue signal, which is what the majority of virtue signaling is, unfortunately, is I'm going to call those people by their preferred pronouns, and if you don't, I'm going to shame you, I'm going to try and destroy you, I'm going to insult you, I'm going to be mean, nasty, and rude to you.
That's the difference between somebody who's comfortable with themselves and know that they're just trying to do what's right. They just want to, like, oh yeah, I just want to make you happy. Like, you're good. Yeah, of course I'll respect your pronouns. We're good. Versus somebody who's trying to fill an emotional need and trying to feel like they're this big, important hero because they don't have any other sensation of self-worth. Self-worth. Yeah. That's what that is. That's legitimately what it is. I mean, I keep saying, good people don't try to convince others that they are good people.
Yeah.
They just do their thing confident that they're a good person. People who are desperate to try to show up, and it's usually the shittiest people who do this. They are at home and their personal lives, whatever, horrible people, and they know it. But they're trying to put on a show to convince everybody else that they are heroic and brave and willing to fight for other people. I'm sorry, this is hitting a little close to home right now. I'm not gonna lie. I know certain people just like this, like spitting examples, and they would post on social media, and people reach out to me going, okay, what the hell did they do wrong? Because this is getting a little obsessive, because they can see right through them. It's like, no, you're trying to convince people that you're a hero, that you're a good person, because deep down you're not.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
Yeah, and I try to. Don't get me wrong. I don't have any issues with people. I don't see a problem with virtue signaling with people, but as long as they're coming from a position of virtue initially,
yes.
if they're just it's you meeting somebody, bumping into someone, you bump into someone in the street, okay? You bump into someone in the street and you go, oh my God, sorry, dear. And then that person says, well, actually, it's not dear, it's mister, but don't worry about it. You're like, oh, I'm really, really sorry about that. I didn't. That is, that's like a tiny little virtue signal, but it's not like then, which is a which would be, oh my, you know what? I'm gonna, that's me. I'm bad. I'm a bad person. I should have known better. I should have known exactly what. So yeah. So I don't have issues with virtue signaling as long as it's from a position of virtue.
And I'm sitting here harping on the liberal types, on the progressive types who do this too. But I mean, like, every sort of demographic is guilty of this to some extent. I mean, even like the hardcore right-wing religious types, they'll do it too. They will sit there and try to show everybody, oh, I'm such a good hardcore Christian, I'm so righteous, and I'm holier than thou, blah, blah, blah. And they keep trying to convince everybody that they are this warrior of God, because at home, they're a piece of shit. You know, this isn't just the left wing thing. I know I keep harping on the left wing, but it's not. And I say this as a Christian person. Like, no, it's a human thing. It's a damaged human thing.
Everybody does it. And like I said, you know, like I theorize, I do think that it's something that will be moved away from at some point in the not too distant future. These cultural phases, you know, they come and they go. They get repeated. Like there's the big one at the moment. You know, one of the ones that seems to be building up ahead of steam at the moment is the CRT stuff. The critical race theory stuff that seems to be building up some steam.
If you just say abbreviations, I'm not gonna know what you're talking.
All right, yeah, sorry, no, the critical race theory stuff seems to have been. It seemed, you know, so it was slowly building up, and
it's now going to get shut down pretty quick.
And exactly, and that's the thing, you know, from a cultural perspective, a lot, and it's the schools. Where a lot of the pushback seems to be, a lot of this pushback seems to be coming from, because people didn't know what it was fully, what CRT was fully embracing, because prior to it making it to the schools and parents finding out and pushing back, it was kind of relegated to just being discussed on YouTube and Facebook and social media. It wasn't in, you know, when those types of cultural things make the transgress to, you know, real life and affecting real life. That's when people that aren't on social media, you know, 9 hours a day suddenly is like, oh, hang on a minute, what is this CRT? Oh, it's this. Oh, right, I really don't agree with that. I'm going to push back on it. Whereas before, when it was just in social media, it wasn't getting a massive amount of pushback. But now it's, you know, people are finding it in schools and stuff like that.
That's a whole nother level there. It's one thing if it's a bunch of adults and you're on social media and everybody is saying everything. You're seeing opinions all over the place, all kinds. And then all of a sudden you're going to try to force it on children, you know, and you have no say in the matter. Like, that's completely different. And I mean, honestly, I'm not a fan of public school. Everybody knows that. But I'm sorry, public school needs to be, if we're going to have it, it needs to be left to actual life skill type situations. You know, teach them teach them math, teach them, you know, science enough to get them by, teach them, you know, history, factual history, not interpretations of history, not, you know, but the actual shit that actually happened. And then after that, it really needs to be more life skill type situations. Bring back home economics, you know, or even just more electives, mechanics, how to fill out your fucking taxes, unfortunately, and things we're actually going to use. But it's never going to be like that. Instead, it's just getting pushed towards more and more and more social programming, which is why you'll never catch me sticking my kids in public school.
Yeah, no, I've always been of the school of thought where the only compulsory subjects in any school should be maths and science, and the curriculum for whatever school or whatever year beyond maths and science should be decided by, you know, local school boards and parents and teachers.
Even math has its limits, because I mean, like, you know, I mean, yeah, it's important to understand the basics, you know, but then once you start getting into the advanced stuff, that's just not stuff people are going to use.
Oh, I'm not suggesting advanced maths and science. I'm
just saying, like, even that's kind of loose after a certain extent. Like, it just.
Basic. I'm talking about the basic fundamentals. You know, 1 + 1 = 2. You know,
when you're going to force a kid to stay in school for like 8+ hours a day, you need to focus on the life skills, because unfortunately, a lot of these parents are not going to have time to teach them the life skills. And that's something that bothers me so much. So I'll say, well, it's the parents' job to teach them this, and that's the parents' job to teach them that. Okay, these parents, unfortunately in this economy, most of the time, both parents have to work. So you've already got that as an issue. And then the kids are at school. They have to get up balls fucking early to get ready. They're tired. They're moody. They're in school all fucking day, overloaded with information they know they're not going to use. They're sitting here going, oh my God, why do I have to learn this shit? I don't enjoy it. This has nothing to do with what I want to do in my future. Like, why am I here? They're stressed the fuck out because teachers are stressful, students are stressful, and then they get home and they've got like 2 to 3 hours of schoolwork afterward. And then they want to get in extracurricular activities. They want to do sports. They want to do dance. They want to do whatever. They don't have any fucking time. They literally don't have time. All their life is getting wasted. Their whole youth is getting wasted learning pointless bullshit. Like, it infuriates me. It honestly infuriates. Like, we wonder why people are so fucked up nowadays. And it's like, look, it's literally like indoctrination camps. They're taking away our, I mean, God, this shit starts when they're like 4 years old, 5 years old. And it just gets worse and worse and worse.
If the school, I mean, especially like, you know, not as a parent, but, you know, a lot of these school boards are having meetings and parents are making their opinions heard, specifically regarding CRT. My question would be, does our school have a 100% numeracy and literacy rate? Because if it doesn't, let's focus on that before you start focusing about adding you know, let's get the basics at 100%, and then we can worry about teaching them, whether it's history or geography or home economics.
I don't think you'll ever get 100% in those stuff, just because like some things are just more difficult for others to grasp for whatever reason, you know.
So,
but I get your point at the same time, though. You know, it's like, look, there's other more important things we need to focus on. We are trying to teach our kids how to be functional adults. So if you're gonna make my kid be with you all fucking day, 5 days a week, you better fucking help teach them how to be a functional adult. Otherwise, why the hell are they there?
Yeah.
That's I mean, like, you know, at that point, it's like, no, fucking homeschool your kids. Homeschool your fucking kids.
Regarding the whole maths element of school, specifically, you know, when it comes to things like, you know, numeracy and literacy rates, there have been points in time where countries have had 100% numeracy and literacy rates.
Oh, I'm sure.
At certain ages. And I think if you set yourself a title for a specific age group, and try and get but as close to 100% as possible, then the maths is that's it. You've given your students and your pupils that grounding. At that point, it should then morph into economics and finances, because once all of the students and all of the pupils know how to do 1 + 1, and they know how to do 10 × 10, and they know how to do that, then the real world application of maths needs to be taught. Okay, so what is APR? You know, how do I balance a checkbook? How do I handle my money? How do I budget this? How do you know?
Teach supply and demand. Teach profit and investments.
Exactly. How does an investment work? You know, how does you know, supply and demand? You know, so it needs to then morph from maths into, you know, economics and not advanced economics. We're talking basic economics.
They're young. They just need to start off small and give them some experiences.
So that when somebody finishes their secondary education, and secondary education finishes at different ages in different countries, but universally it's between 16 and 18 before, you know, students go on to higher education. You know, so if they don't go into higher education and they go straight into the workforce, they know basic financing and basic economics enough so that they can function as, you know, competent human beings. You know, they know and they understand. You know.
Oh, I know, and it's just that, because I mean, the reality is this is a system that encourages sinking yourself in thousands upon thousands in college debt, or joining the military before they encourage going to trade schools. You know, like, it's just such a screwed up system in so many. I mean, I remember when early on in school, when hell, even in Girl Scouts, they were pushing joining the military on us so early. I remember being 9 years old, and there's a woman standing there at this Air Force base, because it was a Girl Scout event at an Air Force base, and She's like passing out stickers for anybody who promised to come register for the military when they turned 18.
Oh my goodness.
I'm not kidding. It starts young. It's insane. Like, I mean, you look at the system. They don't want you to succeed. They really don't. It's so cut and dry. I don't understand how so many people just don't see it. They go, well, my socialization, they got to social. Take your kids to the damn park. There's other ways to fucking socialize your kids, for crying out loud.
Yeah. Yeah.
They'll argue like, oh, well, they need to have experience with bullies and blah, blah, blah. They'll get that in other places. Like, they don't have to have public school where they're sitting there indoctrinated and shamed and humiliated because they can't understand this or that. Or they're excelling in another field, but they're being told it doesn't matter because they're failing in another area. So them excelling doesn't matter in this regard because, well, you're still failing. Like, what do you think it's going to do to the self-esteem of your kids?
Yeah.
Honestly, when they're sitting there busting their asses, they found something they're passionate in it and they're excelling and they're doing great in it. But because they're slipping in a couple of other completely unrelated subjects, things that have nothing to do with anything, they're getting parent calls, they're getting teacher conferences, and they're getting threats and you're going to take summer school. It's horrible. It's legitimately disgusting. I mean, I remember in public school, I excelled in science. I always excelled in science. I did pretty good in math. History, honestly, kind of depended on what we were learning about because some was just boring and some was really fascinating. But when it came to like poetry type stuff, I was really good with like analytical essays. I mean, God, my last year of high school, I legit, like, all my grammar, I missed one grammar question the entire year. Like, I mean, I was not a dumb kid, but I'd still get calls to my parents. Oh my God, she's slipping in poetry. Who the fuck cares? It's fucking poetry. I'm planning on, like, getting a fucking degree in astrobiology, for God's sake. I'm not going to be writing haikus about alien life. Like, what the fuck does it matter? Honestly, it's degrading. It really is. When you can't.
I think the reason why another reason why a lot of, especially within the public school system, a lot of why we're hearing a lot about parents turning up at board meetings and turning up at these conferences and voicing concerns and airing concerns and voicing opinions is because 2020 was, for all intents and purposes, a complete washout for the education of their children. And this is, and we've pretty much gone through the majority of 2021. And in a lot of states, the education of a lot of parents' children's has still been, probably in their mind, lacking. Sitting in front of a computer with a Zoom call, and the people that see either the benefit or the lack of benefit for their children are going to be the parents. A teacher doing a Zoom class to a bunch of kids isn't going to know how effective that is. The parents are going to know them. So parents can now go back out. They can go to the schools. They can go to these board meetings. And it's like, right, okay. So a lot of them probably went there with the intention of, how are you going to get my kids' education back on track after, a 12-month hiatus? And then all of a sudden they start hearing about what their kids are actually going to be taught. And I think that's where a lot of the pushback has come from, because, parents want to know that schools are going to get their kids back on track, because obviously I think it's pretty much a given that once the summer holidays is over and all of the kids are back in school, all of the kids are going to be back in school. I think, full-time being in school, there's not going to be any more Zooms. There's not going to be any more issues. I think if there was, there'd be hell to pay. Schools would, parents would proper kick off. So, when the school year starts, the 2021 school year starts in earnest, everyone's going to be back. And parents aren't going to sit around and take anything that a school is dishing out that isn't fundamentally on track with, get my kid back on track. I wasn't happy with what
Why
they were
getting. We just wasted a whole year screwing around with their education. Now we're back. They're supposed to be getting a solid education, or we're wasting it on critical race theory and bullshit like this, on social things, where we need to be focusing on the fundamentals to get them on track with their lives.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So, yeah. So, yeah, I must. How is your summer going? We're on the subject of summer. How is summer in Arizona?
Fucking balls hot. Like, oh my god! Like, I put up some. I put a photo on Twitter actually about a weekish ago because I said that we're like on the way home. We drove past one of those like outdoor, just electric sign dealios for a gas station, and so it was 124 degrees. And that day we actually did hit the hottest recorded day in Tucson for the past 125 years. And now, so I've been saying, like, yeah, no, it's miserable in my house. It cannot keep up with the heat. And people outside of Arizona just don't get it. I put up a photo of my thermostat where it said it was, I think it was 90 degrees at the time in my house, and that's not even as hot. I mean, I've seen it reach 99 in my house. All right, and so I put up a photo. I'm like, I'm not freaking kidding when I say we can't keep up, and everyone's going, "Oh my god, you need to get a brand new AC." I'm like, it's 2 years old. Well, you need to do this and you need to do that. I'm like, guys, this is desert life. There's nothing I can do. My house faces east to west, so in the morning it's cooking on one side as the sun's coming up, and in the evening it's cooking on this side of the house. So I mean, I can feel it. I'm kind of starting to get sweaty as I am right now because it's getting that time of day where it's just supposed to be inside my house. My AC cannot keep up with it. It just can't. And I've got like not in here I don't, but in my living room I have a double curtain rod with 2 layers of blackout curtains. That doesn't helps a little bit, but only by like 3 degrees. So yeah, we're supposed to be hopefully hitting monsoon season pretty soon. The forecast says next week will actually be under 100. Oh my god, it's gonna be so fucking cold now. And stormy and rainy, so that'll be nice because we've had some really shitty monsoon seasons these past few years. We actually because I live right by a saguaro national park, and all of our saguaros have been blooming in ways they shouldn't be blooming. Like normally, so on a saguaro cactus, because sometimes I forget that some don't know what I mean when I say saguaro. But for those who don't know, they're just a stereotypical looking tall armed cactus. Okay, that's what that is a saguaro. When they bloom, they typically will bloom their flowers like little crowns. They're like little hats on top of the main body and the arms, right? They're blooming all over the saguaro, and that's not good. People are nervous that it's like a last attempt by the saguaros to desperately get some pollination and maybe some moisture or something in order to keep the species alive. So yeah, we're not doing so great out here.
Yeah, no, it's been quite nice where I am. I've got the vegetable patches rocking. Got spuds growing, got peas growing,
good.
Got carrots growing,
loads of onions.
Our corn is our corn is going really, really well, and then the zucchini plant, just everything's growing really, really well, and so are the tomato plants. Good. So we've been getting. I mean, although once we're done recording this, I will have to go and put all of the everything back out because got 2 tornado warnings yesterday afternoon, one at 4:30.
Oh boy.
And then we got one at 5:15. And between the one I received at 4:30 and the one that I got, I didn't see the one at 5:15 because I was already outside bringing everything into the garage because it's, don't get me wrong, it's not that the stuff disappears. It's a pain in the ass having to go to your neighbor's garden. It's like, oh yeah, sorry about the garden furniture. And then you carry it back and put it back in your, because that's what always happens.
I know, we get that out here. People don't really realize just how windy Tucson gets. I have a couple of friends that call me the wind bringer because every time I go to their house, we just get insane amount of wind. Like I just have horrible timing, I guess. But I mean, actually earlier today we got a dust storm so hard I heard it, and I thought we were getting a storm because it sounded like raindrops just pounding on the windows. And no, it was just a dust storm just slamming rocks all over the place. And yeah, that'll happen. Like people, if you have a trampoline, it's going to get blown off and it's going to get in your neighbor's yard. Like, Why are my screen suddenly so white? What the heck?
That's probably just the. It's probably the sunlight. Actually. Oh yeah.
Probably.
No. Oh wow. That is. Oh yeah. No. And it's there. We go. It's gone back to normal. It's a lot of the time it's just white
the
saturation.
The sun's peeking through my windows. Like I know you're talking shit. Bitch.
Yeah. So yeah, you get some. You do get. So I mean, normally I've left stuff out and I've just weighted it down, but on this occasion, I kind of wanted to do so because the last thing I want is because everyone's gardens where I am, it's all open. There's no fences. So,
yeah.
So it's not like that episode of TV it's not like that episode from the TV show The Middle, where there was an episode where they had like really really bad weather, and then the episode with so what did we get this year? And the joke was that on a high wind day in Indiana, you'd lose some garden furniture, but you'd get something new. So it's like, oh, what did we got? Oh, we got a whole new set of patio furniture, and the husband's like, score. Because there's fences, so what what you lose, you've lost, but what you gained is yours. Unfortunately,
it's just a big trade. It's just like a white elephant exchange.
That's not the case where I am, because we don't have we don't. There's only
I've seen trampolines like on people's roofs and shit because the dust storms, the dust devils will come in and swoop them up, and they don't have them tied down. They're just like, oh, the trampoline, it's fine, and then they get swept up. And you see them on people's fucking roofs. That's not that uncommon out
here. Bless you. Oh, bless me. Sneezy. Yes. So summer's pretty decent. I mean, it's not too hot. I've been testing because I spend a lot of my time down in the basement, so it's kind of subterranean. It's naturally cool down here. So on weekends I've been trying it without the aircon on, and you can instantly feel that the aircon is not on as soon as you walk up the stairs, because it's nice and cool down here at the moment. As soon as you walk up the stairs, it's like, oh my god, it like jumped by like 10 degrees. So you're thinking,
I was in northern Arizona for a while earlier this month, and I'm like desperately wanting to go back. It was like 20 degrees cooler up there than it is here. And it's just miserable down. I mean, thankfully, like I said, it's gonna be a bit cooler, but I'm still looking at like, oh great, it's cooler. It's 96 instead of 116. But like, the Flagstaff is only like 76 right now. God, it's horrible. It's I want to get out of here so fucking bad. I'm sick of this. It's been 10 years living in this freaking desert, and I'm done. I'm done with it. Sorry, guys.
So if not the desert of Arizona, where?
That I'm not going to disclose that right now.
No worries, not a problem. For me, it's Illinois. I'm stuck.
I gotta hide from the feds and all that,
Yes, but hey, look,
I gotta keep up the John McAfee lifestyle, and nobody can know where I'm going. So it's an honor to him.
I wouldn't, suggesting, don't get McAfee. If you're gonna live the John McAfee lifestyle, if you're gonna live the John McAfee lifestyle, if you're gonna live the John McAfee lifestyle, don't get Epstein.
Right? Not until I'm old. Once I'm like 85 years old, I've had a good life. It's like, all right, I've had a good life. Like, fucking bring it, But I got some time until then. So,
but
we'll see.
Hey. We're back. We've got a whole. Well, we don't have lots of plans for the show this summer. All we know is that season 2 is going to be interesting because the crazy stuff always happens in the summer. Crazy stuff always happens in the summer.
I say that, but I mean, to be real, crazy shit's always happening. There's always crazy shit.
Yeah, I might have to start paying. Well, now that we're doing the shit, now that we're doing season 2, I might have to pay a little bit more attention to
what's happening in the world,
to my Twitter feed, because I've been like blatantly ignoring my main Twitter feed. I've been like ignoring it like mad,
Yeah, I don't blame you.
I use I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, I still use Twitter, but I use my other account. my other account, my gaming account, which has only got like just over 100 followers, so my feed isn't flooded by the opinions of like the 1,700 odd people that I follow on my main account. But I guess I might have to chime in and listen to stuff like that. Although I will say there is one thing that I have enjoyed with social media, and it's strange, but I'm happy to say this. That new feature on Twitter where a group of people can just jump in and start having conversations. I've been
doing that way too much.
Have you been doing that? Have you?
I've been doing it like way too.
You get when you do that. The next time you do that, make sure you fire me. Make sure you fire me a link so I can jump.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, I usually don't do it alone. I usually have like a friend of mine do that with me, like as I start it. But yeah, I'll let you know for sure because at this point, I probably do it like 2 to 3 times a week.
See, I do it. I'm not doing it like 2 or 3 times a week, but I'm definitely doing it 2 to 3 times a month.
That's fine. Yeah, no, I'm just saying. I mean, I do it frequently enough where it's like, yeah, just freaking watch.
Okay.
But yeah, just watch because like basically, I mean, I'm sure you've noticed like it'll show like on the top of the screen who's doing the different chat.
Yeah, things. I've never seen a notification for that with your name.
Okay, it's not really notification. Well, actually, sometimes there are notifications, but usually not. It's just you have to look on the top of your screen, like where your fleets go.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like up there, and they'll be like you'll see it's like purple, and there's like little stars on it or some shit, and you'll see like little cluster. It'll say like it'll show like who the host is, and then it'll show like another person, say like plus however many people are listening in there. Mm-hmm. So yeah, anytime I can let you know next time.
Yeah, let me know because let me know because I've been on the handful of occasions that I have jumped in on those. It's been a lot of fun, and it got me.
It is fun.
One of those conversations got me invited to a very unusual Discord channel called the Lizard Kingdom. Which is very, very interesting. Very, very interesting. So, maybe I'll have to share that with
like
you. Like
flat earther type interesting?
No.
I'm thinking reptilians and adrenochrome.
No. It's very. I mean, there's tabs on it that have got like Liberty servers and stuff like that.
Okay.
I've been in there and just lurked and listened to conversations that go on.
Okay.
And some people.
Yeah, I don't really belong to a lot of. That's what I should talk about, actually, now that I think about it. The libertarian charity calendars that I have somehow fucking found myself fucking running. So me and another friend on Twitter, I believe, I'm really bad at handles. I believe it's Bon Patel, if I remember right. I'm so bad at handles. But she and I are running these together, and basically the proceeds of these calendars are going to go towards voluntarism in action. And there's 2 different versions. One is Liberty Twitter women in sundresses with guns and all that shit, and the other one is male pinup Liberty Twitter men. And I'm hoping Phil remembers, because I got Phil that remains to freaking sign up for that. Yeah. So I'm hoping he remembers that. I might have to hit him up and be like, "Hey, you still doing this?"
If you can't, if you're missing a 12, you can hit me up.
Missing a 12. I know. I was surprised. I was like, I didn't think he was gonna respond, and I posted on Twitter like everyone petitioned to get him to join in. He responded. I messaged him. He's like, "Oh, okay, great." And I'm like, "Oh, it actually worked."
Yeah, no, because I do have a Union flag that I could suggestively drape over one's self.
I'm not gonna lie, the men's one is more provocative than the women's one.
Is it really?
I mean, the women can't. I mean, they can be a bit provocative. They can be provocative if they want, but legit, it's just like get in a sundress. You could just be cute and flirty looking. There's a cat biting my foot. And yeah, just, sundress, look Liberty themed in some way, have some guns, have fucking whatever. I'm actually gonna be in June. I need to schedule mine actually. A friend of mine is a libertarian chair party holder, I believe, and she's in Phoenix. And she does a lot of pinup stuff and whatnot. So we're actually going to be doing ours together for June. So it's going to be 2-in-1 photo. And then the men's, it's like open Hawaiian shirts and guns and like tactical gear and all that crap. But the profits are going to be going towards charity. People have been kind of talking about doing it for a long time. And then finally my friend and I are like, you want to just fucking start it? I don't know. That's what happens. I never think before I act. I'm just like, let's fucking do it. And I jump in and I go, oh God, what have I done? So
there's something that we can do. There's something we can do updates on. We can discuss updates on during the show each week.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I need to get. I'm probably gonna. I don't know what I have sundresses. But I don't feel like any of them are right. I need a hat. I need a cowgirl hat. That's what I need.
You need.
I'm going full ass Western on this shit.
I do have.
I mean, I live in a desert. Like I've been thinking about it. I'm like, shit. I could have I gotta find like a kind of Westernish looking sundress, but then I gotta get a damn hat. I've got a gun. I don't have boots. But lucky for me, this friend is the same shoe size as me, and she has boots. So I'm gonna borrow her boots. And I'm like, shit, I've got like animal bones out the ass. I can make this look like miserable desert as shit. I've got a cattle skull in my front yard. I've got like rattlesnake skin, and I'm actually working on. I have a rattle. I like picked apart the rattle, like cleaned it out, and it still makes a sound, but I'm gonna cover it in epoxy. And turn it into a pendant to wear around my neck for it. I'm like, I've been thinking about it.
Yeah, well, I've got a full green screen studio on the behind the workstation here, so I've been having lots of fun with it. I mean, you may or may not be aware, but I was for a period of about a month, maybe a little bit more, several months ago, I was doing hot tub streams.
Really?
Yeah, because I wanted to take back Twitter.
Bizarre experience.
Hot tubs are not. I mean, obviously, my hot tub is a green screen. It's I'm not actually in a hot tub. I'm mocking hot tub stream. I'm not doing an actual hot tub stream. I'm mocking. I was mocking hot tub streams. So it was a green screen hot tub on a lovely golden sandy beach, and I was. So I green screen, I would sit on a chair and I would green screen my legs out so that it looked like I was sat in a hot tub. And I had the hot tub sound effects going on in the background.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was, you'll have to check it out. Just so that, I tell you what, I will drop a link. I will drop a link for a clip.
I was recently in a hot tub. I was recently in a hot tub, out of town, tripping balls. Glaring at neighbors that kept turning on lights around me because I was naked as fuck, and I'm just like, go away. I'm like freaking the fuck out, like, leave, stop watching me. It was a very bizarre experience, but a good way to ring in the 30th year of my birthday. Yeah, 30th year of my birthday, 30th birthday. Yeah.
All right. Well, okay. Well, we've been going for an hour, so I think that is a good amount of time to bring us into season 2. So we've discussed some things, we've talked about some things, and as each week passes, we'll come up with more topical things to discuss, and we can give you updates on things like calendars and hot tub streams. Not that I'm doing them anymore or anything like that. So it's not something. No. But yes. So have you got anything to say? Anything you'd like to say just to finish off the podcast, Holly?
Don't do drugs unsupervised.
That's good advice.
Yes.
Nothing from me. But you've been listening to Harley and the Nev. We are the Red Letter, Yellow Letter podcast, and we'll see you all next week. Toodles.
Bye, everyone.